How to get a job in archaeology, part 1, CRM. A question I got from a student recently was, hey Kinkella, how do I get a job in archaeology? And specifically, how do I get a job in CRM archaeology? And I thought it was a great question, because don't you kind of want to know maybe how to get a job in all this at some point? Sure. Now, there are different arenas where you can have a job and be an archaeologist. The most common, popular one, I guess, would be the academic realm, right? Where you're a college professor and you go off in the summers and work in exotic locales. There's also government jobs where you often work at national parks and this kind of stuff. But the most common job in archaeology where you can get this degree and then make money, it is in CRM archaeology. That stands for Cultural Resource Management. It's an odd name. And we just call it CRM. In archaeology, you'd be like, oh, hey, you work in CRM? Right? 50% or so of all jobs in archaeology are CRM. So what's that? CRM is basically a federally mandated thing where all construction companies, if they're building a huge new mall or suburb or this kind of thing, they have to have an archaeologist on staff to make sure they aren't plowing through burial grounds and ancient artifacts. Pretty straightforward. So, of course, this job follows construction. So before we even get into it, realize that this job, it ebbs and flows throughout the year. There's a lot of CRM jobs in like May, June, July, August, right? Because there's a lot of construction going on. If you want a CRM job in December, there ain't much. So it kind of ebbs and flows. Very construction worker-like, right? And when you're just monitoring, that means sort of watching a site. I like to say that it's 95% boredom and 5% terror when you actually find something, right? But more on that at a later time. How do you get into it in the first place? What makes you a hireable candidate in CRM? The number one thing that's going to make you hireable is experience. Specifically, field experience will get you there. And this is, maybe it's taking a field school or several. Maybe it's taking a series of classes that meet Saturdays to learn archaeological techniques at college, right? It's all of this. And it's not just field experience, it's specific field experience in the local area, because CRM archaeology is local, right? You're dealing with local construction and local projects. So you need to know the local archaeology. The very first time that I applied for a CRM gig, I'm on the phone and they asked me about my experience. And I started to wax philosophic about how awesome I was going and working in Belize amongst the ancient Maya. The pyramids in the jungle, don't you know? So there I was, diving in the cenote. They cut me off and they were like, that's great and all. Do you have any local experience? And I thought, and I was like, I do. And I started to talk about some experience that I had with one of my professors in college where I worked with him on Saturdays at a local archaeological site. And there you go. And I dropped his name. I said I worked with this person and I was off. See? So it's not about that time in Egypt where you worked on King Tut. It's, do you have local experience? So it behooves you to get it. Be smart. I know you want to say, I'm such an academic. Look at me. I am so intelligent with my high-end theory in archaeology. The CRM world doesn't give a damn. They want to know that you can do nuts and bolts archaeology, and there's a real pleasure in the nuts and bolts of archaeology. Get that knowledge. How do you get it? So as aforementioned, a field school, hopefully something local, right? Many local colleges, well, I should say some, ours is one, we do a series of Saturday classes where we focus on what I like to call the big three. survey and mapping, excavation, and lab work. I missed it, right? Lab work. These are the three sort of knowledge centers that you need to work on an archaeological project. You need to know how to make a map and the different ways of doing it. You need to know how to excavate a 1x1 or 2x2 or whatever pit. And then you need to know how to analyze and bag and tag the artifacts once you come back to the lab. Get that experience, right? There are opportunities at whatever college you're at to get that. Get it now. You can still get it once you graduate, but it's harder. Get it now. Volunteer. Oh, professors love it if you volunteer for their lab. You're going to learn so much. What else are you doing on a Friday afternoon? Nothing. Volunteer in their lab once a week. It's great. I love it when students volunteer in the lab because there's always something to do in the lab. You'll learn how to fill out the forms and the sheets, and it gives you great local experience. So, as you're getting your experience, you don't want to forget the academic side. At base, you can get a CRM job with only an AA degree, although it must be focused in archaeology. You need that Saturday class stuff of survey and mapping or excavation and lab. You need to have the experience. But at least on top of that, you'll have the basic anthro classes like Intro to Archaeology, Intro to Cultural, Biological, and so on. I would not stop your academic journey at an AA if you're in the archaeology world, because archaeology does have an academic portion to it, whether you like it or not. I would definitely continue with your bachelor's, at least, right? So you could actually have an AA and start maybe getting a couple gigs on the side or in the summer in CRM, but still focus and finish your BA. While you're doing that, you can kind of do what I like to say are extra things on top that make you an even better candidate, which is first just be conscious of the classes you take. You can take other classes that will really help you out. You could take an advanced mapping class like GIS, Geographic Information Systems. That's done in the geography department. You can take an Intro to Geology class. Stratigraphy? Anyone? You think that might help an archaeologist? I think so. You could take a Native American Studies class through the history department. You might want to know about the Native people who once lived and are still living in the exact area where you're working. Only good. So you can augment your knowledge with these other classes as you go through your college experience. Also, at that time, I would say by the time you're getting towards the end of your college experience, and remember, you're also going on field schools, even if you're forced to go to a field school in the ancient Maya world or something like this, much better than nothing, and doubly good if you have local experience plus international experience. That's really great. That's what I really would say you should do. Also, become part of the local archaeology group. What do I mean by that? Most local towns and cities and this kind of thing will have some sort of local history group or this kind of thing. We here in Ventura County, I'm part of the Ventura County Archaeological Society, the VCAS, right? They meet once a month. They have a little speaker. And what's more important for you, not only to listen to the speaker, but archaeology is a small world. Small world. So local archaeologists will come to these talks. Meet them. Say hi. Drop the names of your professors and stuff. And you'll find that those guys might need someone to work for them. And if they don't, they know who does. So I find those local interest groups to be really, really important. And also being a part of them, it's usually cheap. And it looks really great on your resume. That's what comes next. Write up a resume. In the archaeology world, we call it a CV, a curriculum vitae. Why do we do that? I don't know. But people will talk about their CV. So start to write one. If you have no idea how to do it, Google my name, Andrew Kinkella. It's funny, my resume comes up as like the 5th or 6th thing online. I guess a lot of people look at it. It's an older one from a couple years back. So what? look at it, look at the overall organization of it, look at what I put in, what I focus in, all this kind of stuff. It's long, it's pages long. But when you look at mine, don't become dejected. Don't be like, Kinkella got so much on his resume, man. I ain't never gonna get that, man. I've been doing this 25 years. I better have some stuff on there. You're not supposed to have a ton of stuff. You're new to it. It's okay, one page. Be honest, though. Don't pad it with a bunch of BS. Honest. But do discuss in your honesty the classes that you've taken that focus in archaeology, the field school, right? Where you've gotten your degrees, your special interests in archaeology. Sometimes that's really nice, like a little line or two. You'll see. Look at mine. Be professional about it. And again, as you're getting ready to get one of these jobs, be professional. If you get an interview, dress well, be on time, speak well, sit well. Just be a successful human. It matters. It makes a huge difference. Present well. You don't know how to do it? Learn how to do it. So if you do that and you have great experience to talk about, only good things are gonna come to you. How do you get this imaginary interview in the first place? You get some contacts. Where do you get the contacts? Remember that time when I said to go to the local historical society and meet some people? Those are contacts. Your professors are contacts. Your professors might know other people that you should get in touch with. Those are contacts. Or even before you cold call, Google. Google local archaeological firms. Archaeological firms in Los Angeles, California, whatever, this kind of thing. Some names will come up. Small world. The same few names will come up again and again. You'll start to have a feeling. Make a list to yourself of the 5-ish CRM firms that come up. And then when you're ready, I would say cold call them. Give them remember that thing that you could talk in and other people could hear? Call them first. And just be professional. Hi, I'm a recent graduate in archaeology and I'm looking for possible work in the CRM world, and I was wondering if you guys were hiring. That kind of thing, or if not, can I at least send my resume to you? That sort of thing, and then follow up with an email with your resume, send it to the company. Fun fact, learn about the local companies, learn who's working on it, learn what they do, learn about some of their past projects. Then you can also add to the conversation. And by the way, I see that you're looking for an osteologist. In fact, I've focused in osteology, that kind of stuff. It's only good to know stuff about this world you're getting into. Again, it's a small world. And what CRM company you become a part of? Who knows? They change over the years. So if you're looking for a certain one, it might have a different name. It might be run by a different person. There's movement in this as the years go by. What else do I want to say? Done pretty good here. I would say they're going to want you to be flexible in terms of your sort of time commitments. Like maybe nothing will come up until June, but then it'll be like 10 days on and 4 days off kind of thing, where they're going to want you to go to the Tehachapi Mountains for 10 days. So CRM is that sort of world, especially early on. Don't think of it as, I'll just get a cushy job in the lab somewhere 3 days a week. There's possibilities there, but it's rare. It's much more often that you start by going out and coming back 4 days, that kind of thing. So realize that's how it works and be professional on site. Show up on time. Don't take too long of a lunch. Know things. Learn about the local place where you're going before you get there. Learn the archaeology of it before you get there. That's good to do, right? If you do vaguely well at this, and if you've prepped yourself the way I've said, with your field experience and getting your degree and getting your contacts, a good resume, you'll do fine. And I think once you get into it, if you're prepped, you'll be like, I could do this. I'm good. This is no problem. That's how it was for me. I was really worried, with my first gig. Oh my God, do I know enough? But it quickly became apparent that I'm good because I was well prepared. I did. I took it very seriously. So I was good to go, and I was professional. So do that. At the end, I would also say that you will find that there are two vague kinds of CRM companies. They are big and small. It's a bit of an apples and oranges thing that neither one is better than the other. If you pinned me to a wall and said, which one do you like better? I preferred working for small companies, but I would say, especially at first, if you had the choice, which you won't, but let's say you did, I would work for a big company first. Because in a large CRM firm, it'll probably be some big job with lots of people on it, and you can kind of learn a lot from the other crew members. You can work with this guy one day, and he does mapping in a certain way. You never thought of using a tool like that. Oh, that's cool. Or over here, she's doing this excavation and really quick. How do you do that so quick? And she shows you how to do it. You're like, oh, right. You can really learn a lot on this big project, and you're just kind of a number, and that's okay, right? That's a good place to learn. And then, if you do decently, you'll kind of get into the mix, you know? You'll kind of, once you're done with this job, the other project will be like, hey, we need some people over here, and you can kind of put together a life in CRM if you may want that. So in the end, CRM is a very doable thing. You just have to be smart as you go through these steps that I've outlined, and you have to be professional. Be professional.